Hello everyone, David Blair, Crosshairs Trader. In this video I want to discuss earnings dates, how we can place the earnings dates on our charts, specifically here in the TradeStation work platform and in the Crosshairs trading workspaces that we have designed and developed for Crosshairs traders with our proprietary signals. We can also manually place dates on our charts, important dates such as earnings dates, which I believe are important in that we do not want to trade through earnings. At least here in Crosshairs Trading, we choose not to trade through earnings, too risky. There's 4 earning dates a year for companies, so there's no reason to trade through those earnings dates when you can in fact trade every other day the market is open and not have to be concerned about the gambling aspect of trading through those dates. Therefore, there are several sources that I use for looking up earnings dates, and there's a way that I keep up with earnings dates on a stock that has given me a signal or one that I'm watching for a potential signal to enter. And when that signal fires or when there's a potential opportunity coming up, I want to make sure that I can keep up with the earnings date, and I do so by placing the earnings date on my charts. Now we look at weekly and daily charts, so we're going to place an earnings date, of course, on the daily time frame. So in order to do that, what I like to do is use the vertical line tool in TradeStation. So if you click on left click on the vertical line, and you can see it's got set up the date. Now the date will only move out 5 spaces to the right unless you want to change it. And you can format this line and format how far to the right you can move this line. So let's right click on the earnings date, format a vertical line, left click. You can change the color, you can change the style. In other words, let's change the style to a dash here. Change it, leave the weight. There's other types of changes you can make. Data is not important to me. Style we just looked at. You can place an alert, other types of settings. But the other thing I want you to consider is the labels. Now I have mine checked as make transparent top placement. In other words, if you do not check top placement, the date will show up below the bottom. I like to have mine at the top. That's just a personal thing. Show date, I want the date on the line also. I do not care about the time because this is a daily time frame. It has no relevance as far as the time. Also, you can change whether it's a regular bold italic or bold italic style. I keep it bold. You can change the font if you wish. I keep mine at Arial, and then also you can change the size, and I keep mine at 18. So once you have the style where you want it, color, style, weight set as default, hit OK, and it has changed the style of the vertical line. Now go back one more time. Again, if you set it as default, each time you place a vertical line on your chart, it will give the same style. Okay? And then you can right click on the line and remove the vertical line if you wish. Alright, in order to move the date 5 spaces or further out than 5 spaces, in other words, you want to look at earnings dates and know within the next 30 to 45 days whether or not they have earnings, which is a good time frame. right click on the chart, go to Format Window. Under General, you'll see under Chart Properties, bar spacing and space to the right. More than likely, that's where yours is defaulted to, is 5. Change it to 30. I don't like to change it too far out. It could interfere with the data feed. That's what I've experienced in the past, so I keep it at 30. Again, set as default so that on each one of your charts, you will be able to set an earnings date at least 30 days out to the right and click OK. And so now you can move your date, vertical line date with the date all the way out at this point to 6/14. Again, you can move that out ahead so that you can be aware of earnings date. Now I use 3 sources for earnings dates. I'll look at briefing.com. Briefing.com has a paid area and also a free area. The free area allows you to go to the search box and then type in a ticker symbol, and I brought up the GPS as an example. It tells us that the next earnings date is the 23rd of May. So if I go back to the chart, I can move my vertical line over to the 23rd of May. The other sources that I use, Yahoo Finance. You can again bring up a company, GPS, get quote, go to company events, and it will give you the earnings date of May the 23rd. I can also go to finviz, and in the upper right hand corner type in GPS, and I know it's already here on the screen, but type it in and it will bring up an earnings date, and it states May the 15th. I have found that oftentimes you'll have different dates. If they're within a day or two, I usually go with the earliest date. You can also choose to go to the company's website, and in this case with GPS, I simply went to Gap, website, investor relations, and then it had located a reporting calendar and upcoming news releases, February sales, March sales, April sales, and then first quarter earnings report. You see May 23rd. So this is the date that I will go on above all others. So if we go to the chart again, we have May 23rd on our chart. We're aware of an earnings date coming up. Again, gives us an opportunity to trade ahead of this catalyst, and then once those earnings are over, gives us an opportunity to trade the result of those earnings instead of having to actually trade through the earnings date. So if I go to give you for instance, and you can keep the earnings dates on the chart also. C had earnings, Northrop Grumman on the 24th of April. Again, it fired an itch on that earnings date, another one of our proprietary signals, much like GPS, and gave you an opportunity to trade NOC, not through earnings, but post earnings, and you see we had a nice move post earnings. But if we go back to GPS, you can also keep earnings dates on the chart. Make sure you save your workspace. If we go back to GPS, briefing.com, you can always look back previous earnings dates. So the last time GPS had earnings was on the 28th of February. So we can actually place another vertical line for earnings date from the 28th of February. So now we have earnings dates. You can go back, put the one previous to that, and you can just look and see how a stock traded ahead of and after earnings. So if we go back to briefing, Again, I like briefing because it gives you this history. Look up NOC. You can see they had earnings on the 24th, and the last time was January 30th. Go back to NOC, January 30th. And now I have earnings dates on both of these. Last two earnings dates on the chart. So that's how I'll place the earnings dates in the TradeStation workspace that we utilize. And those are the sources that I use. Briefing, Yahoo Finance, finviz, and if there are discrepancies in those dates, I'll either use the nearest one to put on my chart to err on the side of caution, and then also I will oftentimes go to the actual website of the company, and under investor relations you'll usually have an upcoming date, which will be the more accurate one. Can they change those dates going ahead? Yes, they can, so we need to pay attention to that. But generally, I'm not in a trade 3 to 5 days ahead of earnings anyway, so if there's a day or two off there, I should be okay. Sometimes there'll be surprises, but that's an outlier. But this is a great way to keep up with earnings dates, and a great way to label these on your charts so that you will be reminded of an earnings date that's coming up and will not make a mistake of trading through earnings out of ignorance. All right, if you've got any questions, please contact me at david@thecrosshairstrader.com.